Alright everybody, real quick, before we get into this video and we recap the game, I just want to quickly congratulate Raheem Morris of the Atlanta Falcons for getting his first win in his first game as interim head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. It's a big job to step in and deal with an 0-5 team like the Falcons and be able to properly use the weapons that they have and utilize them so that they can win a game against an NFL team. So congrats to you, Mr. Morris.
Kirk trying to win it to Thielen, caught at the 5! I got 3 words for you. You like that?
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Skull Network, and this is Nick with the recap of the Minnesota Vikings versus the Atlanta Falcons. Now, as we saw, the Minnesota Vikings have just gotten their cheeks clapped once again, this time by the 0-5 Falcons by a score of 40-23. And man, was there no bright spots in this game besides one. And we're going to quickly talk about him. Mr. Justin Jefferson finished with 9 receptions for 166 yards and 2 touchdowns, and has officially racked up the most receiving yards in the first 6 career games by a rookie in NFL history, passing Mr. Randy Moss. So great job, Justin Jefferson. He's currently averaging around 89 yards per game and is on pace for over 1,450 yards for this entire season. So if he keeps playing like this, I have no doubts that he will win Offensive Rookie of the Year, and that's cool. If only it helped us win this game. All right, let's start with the actual recap. Let's talk about the offense. Now, everybody hates Kirk Cousins, and that was very apparent today. On social media everywhere, those first 3 interceptions in the first half, it brought a plethora of just Kirk murderers saying his jersey needs to be burned. How much are we gonna lose in cap space if we just cut him tomorrow? All this stuff. And the first interception was clearly on Kirk, but those last 2 are a little more, I don't know. The second one was pretty lucky to be caught by the defender anyway. It was caught by his legs. And the last one, Brian O'Neill got completely bullied, bull rushed into Kirk, and that's the whole reason that his hand was even hit. I don't put that one on him at all. And Kirk finished with 343 yards and 3 touchdowns to go alongside the 3 interceptions, so does it make up for it a little bit? Yeah, but is Kirk playing great football and consistently great football? Not by any means. But I still am going to say this every time. If Sean Mannion was put in that situation, my God, you guys would be asking for Kirk Cousins back in a heartbeat. So you need to shut your damn mouth. Now we're on the topic of the offense. I quickly want to talk about the play calling from Gary Kubiak today. I don't know how many times I saw like 3, 5, or 7 yard like slants or drag routes that were called on like 3rd and 15 or 3rd and 20. But that's usually not how you pick up first downs in that situation, unless you have someone like Alvin Kamara catching the ball. So good one on you, Gary Kubiak. And also, Alexander Mattison seemed to be a very moot point in this game. And when you cannot establish a good running game, it is very, very apparent in like 98% of cases that your passing game will also suffer. And when your passing game suffers, your running game suffers, and it's just a deadly cycle that you can almost never get out of until it's garbage time, which is kind of how things went today. Without Alexander Mattison doing much at all, Kirk, they didn't see Kirk as a threat. Now, most teams really don't usually see Kirk as a threat, but it really didn't help this time. With no running game, there was no passing game, and just vice versa, it just kept going back and forth, and that's why things were as bad as they were. Now let's move over to the defense. I want to start by saying I feel so bad for the veteran guys like Eric Kendricks, Harrison Smith, and anybody else that's been with this team since at least 2017, because you remember how historically great that defense was. 3 years later, they are working with Cameron Dantzler, Jeff Gladney, and Harrison Hand. They had Mike Hughes for a little bit of the game, but he went out. Was he much better than what we had? Not really. It's just so tough to watch this team on defense, and I'm combining a statement that I have said multiple times with something that one of my coworkers said. The Minnesota Vikings defense could not stop a parked car at a red light, and it's just plain and simple. You remember towards the end of the game when Matt Ryan was rolling out on 4th down, Jeff Gladney completely just decided to fall down and leave Julio Jones completely wide open, and he obviously turned that into a scoring play. And let's face it, I'm going to admit this, when I saw that Julio Jones was actually in for this game, knowing that Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, and Russell Gage were going up against, at the time, Mike Hughes, Jeff Gladney, and Cameron Dantzler, I almost knew it was going to be a slaughter. Even if Todd Gurley didn't play as well as he did, because Gurley played quite well, and the run defense also did not play very well either, just like the pass defense. It's almost like none of the cylinders of this game worked well, including the special teams too. Dan Bailey, what were those 2 onside kicks? I think you missed the point of the onside kick. You're supposed to try and have a chance to get the ball. That's besides the point. It's just really tough, and I know a lot of people, seeing the defense play as bad as it is, and seeing the play calling as bad as it is, want, guys like Kubiak and Zimmer and Spielman to be gone. And I'm starting to understand it a little bit more now, but I do think it's too early to completely jump ship. I do think that Zimmer might not make it to the end of the season if things keep going this way, if the defense just keeps giving up 30 plus points a game, because if that's the case, there's a reason that people hate Kirk. It's because he can't win games when the team is giving up 30 to 35 points a game. It's just not feasible unless you have Pat Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, sometimes Lamar Jackson, it's not gonna work, okay? And I understand that makes it sound like Kirk needs perfect conditions to be able to win games, and sometimes that's the case, but sometimes, you know, he's able to work with what he has. In this case, it's not gonna work. I'm sorry. And one last quick thing, and this was one of the biggest stories going into the week. Everybody and their damn mom was hating on Drew Samia because he is the worst rated offensive guard by PFF and currently the worst rated overall player in the league among eligible players by PFF. And trust me, I was just as excited as everybody else for Drew Samia to be gone, at least for this week, and give someone like Ezra Cleveland a chance. But man, am I taking my words back so much right now. Ezra Cleveland did not play very well, and by not very well, I mean Ezra Cleveland played like a rookie, okay? Can everybody at least agree with me on that? I know people don't like that I somewhat defend Kirk, and I don't think that Zimmer should be fired, but let's all agree that Ezra Cleveland is not the answer. This is basically a lateral move going from Drew Samia to Ezra Cleveland, and we all want Pat Elflein back, even as bad as he is, okay? Can we just agree on that? I'm just trying to make a point that someone will, like, agree with me on. Please, guys, throw me a bone, please. This is all I'm asking for. But once again, this has been a heartbreaker because obviously the Falcons were 0-5 going into this. And it does just seem like if you fire your head coach every single week that you could just win every single game, because you look at the Texans, they pulled it off after firing Bill O'Brien. And now, after firing Dan Quinn, the Falcons have looked like they're possibly, I mean, they're not a playoff team. I mean, 1-5 teams rarely ever make it, but I know us as a 1-5 team are probably not going to make it. And no, we are not tanking for Trevor Lawrence, guys. I'm sorry, there are still teams that are winless, and even if we did, what is Trevor Lawrence going to learn sitting behind Kirk Cousins for the last year or two of his contract? Huh? They have completely different play styles, and there's no way that Trevor Lawrence is going to move over to the play style that Kirk does, because it's just not going to work, okay? And there's so many things that need to be changed about this team, but at this very moment, we have to work with what we have, and we have to enjoy every single moment of this, because I mean, if we're just downers all the time, then why are you even watching the game? It just doesn't make any sense, and I want you to know that, okay? Just enjoy it. Kirk throws 6 interceptions? Oh well. I mean, at least you get to watch this game. All right, let's just all calm down. Let's take a seat. Let's wait on the bye week, and we can come back. We're not going to go to the playoffs. At least it seems. It's very unlikely. But just like, let's at least enjoy the season while we have it. All right, thank you. And that's going to wrap up this week's recap of the Minnesota Vikings versus the Atlanta Falcons. Once again, it certainly sucked, but what can you expect from this team at this point? All right, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure that you hit the button down below to subscribe. And if you like what I had to say in this video, give the video a like. If you want to show this to other people, hit the share button, because no one is going to stop you. And especially if you show it to the crack dealer on the street, you already know, guys. This has been Nick with Skull Network on the recap of the Minnesota Vikings versus the Atlanta Falcons, and I'll see you guys in Week 7 NFL picks. Adios.